Greetings, everyone. I'm Dianne Thomas, and welcome back to my Certified High Performance Coaching Training Series in support of Dianne's CHPC Recertified Project 2017. It's an online crowdfunding campaign that began April 17th. It's hosted on Generosity by Indiegogo, and it was started to help me raise the funds that I'll need to certify as a Certified High Performance Coach in June. I have to recertify every 2 years, so this is recertification year. So I'm needing a little help with that, and so I created this crowdfunding campaign to help me do that. And there's more information on the campaign down below. There's a link there, as well as there's an opportunity for you to participate if you have goods and services as a perk partner, so that I can use those as incentives for visitors to the site. So hopefully you'll be interested in doing that as well. Now, this training series was created to help viewers such as yourself get more familiar with me and more familiar with certified high performance coaching. The coaching framework is set on what we call the 5 pillars of high performance: clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. And that's a framework that certified high performance coaches such as myself use to help clients get to higher levels of achievement in their lives. So what I've done with this training series is assign 1 pillar to each weekday of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Today is Thursday, so it's Productivity Thursday, and we started talking last week about ways that and strategies that we could use to help us be more productive and get more of a handle on our time, so that we get more of what we need to do for ourselves done every day, and that's either personal or in your personal or professional lives. So what I wanted to do is just give you an understanding basically where I'm coming from with it, using myself as an example. Now, I have mentioned in several other videos that I live my life through 3 basic principles: continuing improvement, lifelong learning, and personal responsibility. And so everything I do is filtered through that. And I ask myself 3 questions to make sure that I always stay on point with those principles. The first one is, how will whatever it is I'm looking to do improve my life? How is it going to help me get better? Do I feel personally responsible for taking this on? And then if so, why? And then what can I learn from this? So what I've done is to create a PowerPoint presentation, a very brief one, to kind of lay all this out, my thinking process out for you, so that you get more, some people are really visual, and it's easier for them to look at things while they're being instructed. So I'm going to share my screen with you and give you a visual on how what I do to help me move through what I have to do every day. It's a way of thinking and an approach that I have about the work that I do every day that helps me get focused and make sure that I don't stray off in areas I don't need to be in. Now, as I mentioned, these are the 3 questions that I ask myself before I take on any new project, any new challenge, any new activity you name it. And then after I do that, I employ the Eisenhower Principle, and we talked about this last week. Now, the Eisenhower Principle was created by, or first initiated or spoken of by, and his name was attached to it, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, to help him manage his time in the projects that came up as President of the United States. And anything is good for him, it should be good for you. So I use it myself to try to help me get through the process of making decisions about how I spend my time. And so we're going to go through this very briefly to give you an understanding. And I did mention it, as I mentioned last week, and hopefully those of you got the link and were able to take a little bit more time to look at it and see how it would apply in your life. But essentially, the understanding by President Eisenhower was that there are important activities and there are urgent activities. And they're not one and the same, because there are important activities that are urgent and there are urgent activities that may not be as important, and vice versa. So this framework for approaching and determining what to do and what we will classify as important and urgent has been created. So we're going to go through this pretty quickly. Now, what the thinking is behind this is, okay, so you're starting your week off and you're taking a look at all the things that you have to do. You got this list in front of you. Now, you think it's a to-do list for you for this week, but not necessarily. It's all the things that you've either been wanting to do or need to do for yourself or other people want you to do. Okay, so this is where this framework is going to come in to help you sort through all of that. Now, you need to just take some time, whatever it is, as you're looking at it, and realize that these are activities that take up some kind of time in your life, whether or not they're important. And you need to then think about how to characterize them and categorize them based on these 4 areas that we have laid out here. So first we have, at the top, we have important and urgent. And these really can be broken down into 2 distinct types of activities. You have the ones that may be urgent because they were unforeseen, you couldn't predict them happening, or you left them to the last minute to do, procrastination. So these last minute activities can probably be planned for ahead of time. So if you're in the midst of something, I guess you got to get through it. But in the future, you need to tend to look at, see, okay, well, how can I schedule this so I'm not feeling so pressed to make sure that this gets done when I'm trying to get some other things done at the same time. Now, you know, there are some things that come up that are urgent, and you can't always predict what those things are going to be. But for the most part, you should be able to leave some time within your day or your week to get those things that pop up done. So you don't have to drop what you're doing and run and do something else. And you can assign some time either that day, later in the day, or later in the week to get it done. That's the idea behind important but not urgent. If you end up with a whole lot of important and urgent activities that you need to do, which are things that you could have foreseen, then you may want to try to schedule similar activities. So if there are things that tend to come up all the time that appear to be urgent, there's a reason, probably there's something you need to address with why these things are urgent all the time. And it could be that you just need to sit down and schedule a time to get them done, and know that there may be this particular day of the week that you get these things done. So again, they're not popping up and throwing you off course and schedule with the other things that you have to do. The next one, important but not urgent. And these are activities that help you achieve a personal or professional goal and to complete the important work that you have to do every day or every week. So plan plenty of time to get these things done. This is probably one of the area where you want to focus most of that energy on and attention on with that list that we were talking about earlier. What are the things that are going to get you ahead? You know, take care of yourself first, all right? So making sure that you have lots of time to get these things done will avoid them becoming urgent later on. So there's always things that are going to come up last minute, unforeseen things, and we all understand that. But to try to avoid the stress of the pressure of trying to find time to get things done, it's best if you really can already know, okay, this particular thing, I've got to do it every week. I have to. So let me block out 3 hours, and this is what I'm going to do every single day until whatever the deadline is to get that done. Now, next we have not important but urgent, and those are activities that end up preventing you from achieving your goals, or they are threatening to prevent you from achieving your goals. So you may want to think about rescheduling those things or delegating them to someone else. Delegation, I know a lot of folks feel, well, you know, if I want to get it done right, I need to do it myself. But, you know, again, you need to determine what those things are you absolutely have to do and what you can trust someone else to get done. Also, though, you know, a common source of stress in this area is pressure from other people wanting you to do things for them. So this is where you need to think about saying no when you need to, and being honest with people about what your time frame is like. It could well be that this is something they could actually do themselves. Maybe they just don't know how. So taking a few minutes at a scheduled time to say, look, this is what this thing requires to be done, and here's where I can help you here, 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 and here. But the rest of this, you're going to have to do it on your own. But do take the time and be present with them, and don't just, you know, brush them off necessarily. But let them know, hey, you can handle this. You don't need me to do it. You know, and regular meetings, certainly most people have staff meetings, but even with your family, just things that need to be done, to meet regularly and just talk about if you see certain things just aren't getting done, to have a sit down about, you know, getting what do they need from you to make it happen, but not that you're actually going to do it yourself. And then we have not important and not urgent. So these are the things that end up being distractions in our lives, like the phone calls we get the last 30 minutes before we have to leave work that make us stay later because a family member or friend just had to talk to you at that very moment, or you got caught up with something you were looking at on Facebook. Before you know it, it's like 30 minutes gone. You're like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to be out of here 30 minutes ago. Those are things you definitely have to cancel. Get rid of them. You know, again, it may be a situation if you've got phone calls that are coming in the last hour of the day, or someone walking up to you with something when you're trying to get out the door. It may be where you have to have a conversation with them and say, look, this is what's happening with me between this time and this time. And you'll really be wonderfully helpful to me if you can make sure you get me whatever you need to get me between this time and not this time. Or whoever you're talking to, or who happens to be calling you at the same time every day, letting them know you'd love to talk to them and you're very interested in what is going on with them, but this is not a good time. Let's reschedule or plan a time to talk about these particular things, because we don't want them to end up being distractions and throwing your whole schedule totally out of whack. What I've learned is you need to teach people how to treat you. And once they see that you're very serious about setting boundaries because you have a focused goal you need to get to, they're going to back off from interrupting you so much. You'll notice that. You have to just train them, making sure you're consistent. This is on you, though, making sure that you're consistent with communicating that with them so they know this is really not a good time to come in. Here's a better time, and let's work this out because I do want to help you. And then at this point, this is where you talk about creating your to-do list. This is when the to-do list happens. And for me, I take about no more than 3 big projects that I have to do every single week that I'm working on every single week. I find 5 things that I absolutely need to do that week on each of those projects. And then I coordinate with the people that I need to help me. So these are people around me or people I need to connect with via email or phone. I get clear about who I need to connect with for what project, and make sure that I've let them know this is what I need from you at this time. And then I work on what priorities I need to have accomplished each day. So I have a project, then I have the people that I know I need to help me with that project for that week, and then what do I need to get done on Monday? What do I need to get done on Tuesday? So once you filter that down and set a system up for how you make those decisions, you'll find that you'll have a lot more free time, you'll have a lot more productivity in your life, and you'll be a lot less stressful. So I hope that this brief overview of this will help you get more centered and have a better perspective that yes, there is a way to get through this process. This is a process that I use. Certainly, you can develop your own, but I do recommend that you do work on it as soon as you possibly can, because we really want to make sure, as high achievers, that performance is at the top of whatever it is we're spending our time doing. Outcomes are critically important. Now, this is just some links that I wanted to share with you. Again, you see it below this video. The first one is about my crowdfunding campaign, hosted on Generosity by Indiegogo. I also have some more information on Certified High Performance Coaching at dmariethomas.com, as well as any information you may want to be interested in terms of nonprofit resource development, because that is also part of the services that I offer as well. So thank you so much for your attention. Have a great and productive Thursday, and thank you so much for participating.